Okay, good day. This sa ating previous lessons ng third quarter, pinag-aralan natin yung mga sumusunod na lessons. Number 1 is pinag-aralan natin yung probability distribution, normal distribution, and sampling distribution. At meron akong dinatalakay sa inyo yung t-distribution, pero madidiscuss naman natin ito pagdating natin sa topic na t-test. Okay? And our topic for the fourth quarter or last quarter of this school year is about conducting hypothesis testing. And it consists of the following outline na pag-aaralan natin sa loob ng 7 linggo. We have steps in hypothesis testing, the traditional method. So yung una sa outline natin, napakaraming prerequisites yan. It might consist of 2 lessons pa before dun sa ating z-test for a sample mean. We have z-test for a mean, t-test for a mean, z-test for a proportion, and we have the correlation and regression. Actually, yung ating hypothesis testing is second area ng ating statistical inference. Okay? Yung first area is estimation of parameters, but I'm planning to discuss this to you after na ng ating hypothesis testing. And when we say statistical inference, this is we make conclusions about parameters in the population. Of course, our conclusion is based from the sample data that we get from the population. And yung ating sample data, gagawa muna tayo ng test statistics so that we can make a conclusion about the parameters in the population. So, yun yung tinatawag nating statistical inference. Okay? Sabi ko nga, yung ating hypothesis testing, isa lang ito sa area ng ating statistical inference. Now, when it comes to hypothesis testing, talagang ginagamit ito ng ibang mga researchers. For example, researchers would like to know the answer to several types of questions. For example, yung researcher natin ay isang teacher. This teacher wants to know if the asynchronous class is an effective teaching technique in an online class. Or for example, a doctor might want to know whether a certain medicine will lower a person's risk of infection of COVID-19, like yung sikat na sikat nga yung medicine, yung ivermectin. Okay? Now, these types of questions can be addressed through statistical testing, statistical hypothesis testing. So when we say hypothesis testing, it is a decision-making process for evaluating claims about the population. Of course, yung ating decision will be based from the data that we get from the population. And this is what we call hypothesis testing. Ano ba yung mga halimbawa of claiming about a population or claiming about a property, characteristic, or descriptive measures about a population? Here are some of my examples. Let's say a rice miller is claiming that his sack of rice is exactly the weight of his sack of rice is exactly 50 kilograms. Okay? So, pwede nating malaman kung totoo yung sinasabi ng rice miller, kung eksakto na lang 50 kilograms ng isang sako ng kanyang bigas through hypothesis testing. By getting sample dun sa kanyang mga sako ng bigas. Okay? Or, for example, yung manufacturer is claiming that yung kanyang coffee vending machine is dispensing an exact amount of 150 ml of hot water. So, para malaman natin kung nagsasabi ng katotohanan yung manufacturer, we do sampling. Okay? And based from the data that we get from the population o yung mga vending machine na nakuha natin from the manufacturer, we can make a conclusion about the claim of the manufacturer. Okay? Now, how are we going to do this? Of course, we're going to start our lesson about understanding hypothesis testing. And that will be our lesson number 1. At pag-aaralan natin doon yung mga steps o pag-state ng hypothesis, the directional and non-directional, or the one-tailed and two-tailed tests. Okay? So watch the next video about lesson number 1, and that is understanding hypothesis testing. Thank you.